Yo. Sup, chat? What is up, chat? What is up, chat? What is up, chat? W's nippers in the chat. Yo, what's going on, bro? Doing great. How about you? I'm doing well, brother. We're gonna watch some videos. Oh yeah. The most haunted location from around the world.
Sync your RGB devices to your favorite games with Signal RGB, which is an RGB app that supports thousands.
The most haunted locations from around the world. I've touched on a lot of creepy things so far in this channel. Serial killers, mythical creatures, folklore, SCPs, but I've never discussed ghosts directly. But today, that changes. And I'm gonna answer all your questions about these haunted locations. Like, how did it become haunted? What ghostly encounters have been recorded? And are these places even really haunted? The year is 1835, and you have just been invited to a beautiful
Properties. Advanced. I don't really know what to do at this point. Timestamp. Oh yeah. Participants. Upward compressor. Maybe that's the case.
Christmas get together at one of your friends' manor.
My goodness, bro. Limiter. How about now? How about now, chat? How about now, chat?
in the English countryside. The manor was just absolutely beautiful, and this party was packed with notable people. Respected colonels, wealthy businessmen, and high-ranking government officials. The night consisted of seemingly endless food and drinks and music, and everything was just so perfect. Late into the night, once the party started to die down, you and a group of friends decided that it was time to go to bed, and you all went your own separate ways to get to your bedrooms. You turn down a hallway and you're finally by yourself and only steps away from your bedroom, when you notice down this hallway there's this woman. A woman that was wearing only brown clothing. You didn't recognize this woman from the party, but this isn't your house, and you didn't know everybody at this party, so you figured it was somebody else also going to their room. This woman was slightly notable due to the apparel that she was wearing, but it was nothing out of the ordinary, and you continued to your room and had a good night's rest. You woke up the following morning on Christmas Eve and engaged in the morning festivities. The party was still not done. There was a huge brunch being served, and you and everybody else were not going to miss it. You sit down at a table with some of your friends, one of which being a colonel, and he mentions that last night he saw a rather peculiar woman. Another person at your table asks, what did she look like? And the colonel goes on to explain that on his way to his bedroom, he saw a woman dressed exclusively in brown robes. These robes were dated and tattered and had to have been at least from the previous century. It didn't
I ain't gonna lie, chat. I already watched this. I think I already watched this. The scariest cults from around the world.
the scariest cults from around the world. Imagine you're standing on the street just minding your own business when you get approached by a couple and they have some important information for you. They tell you that they are spiritual guides and they can help take you to a next level of existence beyond Earth and human comprehension. They say that you can transcend humanity by transforming into an immortal extraterrestrial being. It sounds like an interesting proposal. So you take a flyer and attend a meeting. And at this point, you can go either one of two ways. Your suspicions are either confirmed and you realize that you spoke to crazy people, or you believed you talked to some of the most important people ever, and in that instance, you just joined a cult. This cult is known as Heaven's Gate, and it was an American cult founded in 1974 by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles, who, like I mentioned, saw themselves as spiritual guides to a next level of human existence. Without spoiling the ending, Heaven's Gate is most commonly known for its mass suicides committed by its members, but the story goes a lot deeper than just the headlines. Nettles and Applewhite first met in 1972 and went on a journey of spiritual discovery together, and came out on the other side identifying themselves as two witnesses of Revelation, or the Book of Apocalypse in the Bible. This claim alone, and some clever convincing, was reason enough for them to start attracting hundreds of people to start at least paying attention to their movement in the mid-70s. And after a few years, they even had over a dozen members adopting a monastic lifestyle, dedicating their life to Heaven's Gate, and giving up all worldly pursuits beyond this cult, which is insane. This cult is commonly recognized as a UFO religion, primarily because the central belief of this group was that the followers could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature. By rejecting this human nature, they would, by default, ascend to heaven, or what they would refer to as the next level. This cult primarily grew by Applewhite and Nettles trying to contact other extraterrestrials, aka like-minded people, aka other crazy people. They took out ads and flyers to promote meetings where they would recruit disciples that they called the Crew. At these events, they would purport to represent beings from another planet who were looking for patients for an experiment. That alone is already creepy. They got straight to the crazy even on sign up. There was no easing into it, it seemed. They mentioned, though, that those who agreed to take part in their experiment would be brought to a higher evolutionary level. An interesting proposal, potentially, but still, red flags are everywhere. In 1975, Applewhite and Nettles preached at a motel hall in Oregon, and following that session, over 20 people sold all of their worldly possessions and essentially disappeared off the face of the planet, not being seen by family, friends, or even the general public at all. These people didn't just disappear, but they had become a part of Heaven's Gate, which at this point had already began going underground. Applewhite and Nettles changed their name to Doe and T, and they had led nearly 100 people across the country to ditch their families and join Heaven's Gate. The lore that they came up with is deep. And it's a really weird twist on a lot of existing religious texts and theories about history. But one of the more interesting claims they made is that they believe that Jesus himself was an alien, which is an interesting take for sure. But what's more interesting is what happened in October of 1996. The group rented a large house that they called the Monastery, which was a 10,000 square foot mansion in California. At the time, they were paying $7,000 per month in rent cash, and they even took out alien abduction insurance on each of their members with a $1 million payout per person. Which, who the hell is selling alien abduction insurance? But that's a side point. That's a video about insurance scams, not cults. Now, this house isn't the interesting event, but it's the precursor to what really put this cult on the map. Nearly 1 year into renting the monastery, Applewhite taped a video of himself entitled Doe's Final Exit, where he spoke on mass death and how it was the only way to evacuate this Earth. He was convinced that the comet Hale-Bopp was the sign that the group had been looking for, and speculated that there was a UFO following this comet. And because of this, Applewhite and 38 of his followers prepared a ritual death. This death lined up exactly with when the comet was closest to the Earth, so that their souls could reach the next level. In the following days, 39 people had taken a concoction of vodka and poison, and, like you may have guessed, died. There is so much crazy and honestly disturbing lore to this cult, but I think the best way to describe it is that they believe that humans were boring, aliens were cool, and if a human wanted to become an alien, they had to die. It's amazing what people are willing to believe and dedicate and sacrifice their life for. Oh, and if the Heaven's Gate logo looks familiar, Lil Uzi Vert used it as inspiration for his album cover, which is odd. Now, instead of being approached by a crazy couple, you were approached by a stick figure on YouTube, and he had an interesting proposition for you. He wanted to give you free gummies, but these gummies were special. Let's get straight to the point. If you've seen our drug series, which judging by the views you probably have, then you would have heard about our awesome sponsor 5CBD, and they even sponsored this video too. Don't skip, because if you're over 21 and live in the USA, you can get free gummies today. 5CBD's high potency gummies are perfect for catching a buzz without feeling bad about it. Whether you want a burst of energy with Surge, or a balanced vibe with Vibes, or if you want to unwind with Chill, these gummies have you covered for any situation. 5CBD also ensures top quality with third-party testing, meaning that these high-potency gummies are safe, reliable, and incredibly effective. One of my favorite parts about 5CBD is the convenience. Being able to have these shipped directly to my door without having to go to any sort of store is something I appreciate. And something else I appreciate about these gummies is the affordability. For the quality and effectiveness of these gummies,
I think traditional ebooks provide a really poor reading experience, and I knew that with the right server and full control, I could create something better.
What's going on, guys? Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this course on Spring Boot. In this course, I'm going to teach you the most popular framework for the Java ecosystem, Spring Boot, which allows you to build APIs and web applications and all that good stuff. In this course, I'm going to teach you Spring Boot, and we're going to learn how to create an API, connect to a real database using Docker, and the database will be Postgres, as well as using JPA. So this is an overview of how to put all of these components together in terms of building a real API. All right, so if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe, smash the like button so we can keep on recording content like this. And without further ado, let's get started. Before I start, just want to say that we just released our brand new platform, Migos Code 2.0, and everything has been built from scratch. New dashboard, new courses, new tools, new content, blogs, and pretty much everything that you need in terms of helping you succeed as an engineer. So this is something that a lot of you have been asking, and I felt in terms of taking Amigos Code to the next level, we had to build this brand. And then right here, you should see the actual key to use IntelliJ. All right, so once you have that, you can go and redeem the license, and then you have access for 3 months. So as well with IntelliJ installed, let's together create a new project by pressing on this button in here. Then you'll be presented with this window, and in here we have a bunch of generators that we can use. So you can see we have a standalone Java application, Kotlin, Go, Maven, we have Spring Boot, JavaFX, Quarkus, Ktor, HTML, React, Express, and all of that good stuff. So for us, what we need is Spring Boot. And then here, just pick a location within your file system. So I'm going to leave mine under desktop. And then here, I'm going to say Spring dash and then boot. All right. The other thing is, if you want to create a repository, go ahead and say create Git repo. And this makes sure that you have the actual code as a Git repository that you can then basically push to GitHub, for example. So in my case, I'm going to do this, and I recommend you to store everything you learn so that you can use to build your portfolio. The next thing is language. So for the language, you can use Kotlin if you want. I do have a course on Kotlin, which is really nice language, but I'm going to stick with Java in here. And then for the type, you can choose Gradle with Kotlin, I think 1.8, if I'm not. So from here, and a new annotation at, and then say REST, and then controller object. Developers, here I'm going to grab this, Control G, put this on new line, delete of your database, and also update of your data. So these are
Yo, Sleep Money, what's going on, bro? Money sleeps. How's your day going, bro? I'm just chilling over here watching videos. Disturbing animated horror stories. I just saw you in the chat. Waking up. Oh, it's gotta be morning there. It has to be the morning.
It was around 3 years ago. I was 17 years old and I worked at the local library in my city. The library was located in the middle of the city, but was totally abandoned in the evenings. I only worked in the evenings when all the
Good
older staff had
morning.
already gone
Don't
home.
know how my
My
day
colleague
is
and I were
yet.
the only one left there that night.
How was your
As it
sleep?
was the
How
day
was your
before
sleep?
Christmas, and a blizzard was going on outside. Not one single customer inhabited the building. My colleague Thomas was down at ground level, while I was sitting at my desk on the top level. Normally, I would take the time to study, but it was the holidays and I was completely bored.
It's
to
4th
death.
of July.
The library
Oh,
was
it's
recently
Independence Day,
renovated,
right?
So I could look outside through the big windows that they had put up. I mostly looked at the
4th of
blizzard
July.
thinking about my bike ride home. It was a dark December evening and the snow was piling up. I just really
You're gonna do any fireworks? Solid sleep?
wanted to go home.
Hell yeah.
It's really
That's what we
snowy
want.
out there, Tom. What do you
That's
say
what we want.
close up early? No one's gonna show up anyway. Over. Your jokes are funny.
BRB.
Just 10 minutes
Be right
before we
back.
closed,
Aye, bro.
some
Aye,
people
bro.
coming up
Alright,
the
bro.
stairwells.
It took me a while to
Small
understand what
family,
BRB
one
means.
man and a woman, and 2 girls. When they came through the door, I immediately saw that they weren't ordinary. The man had a pale, almost white face and wore red lipstick.
What
The
is
woman
your
was also completely pale. They all wore clothing like they used to be in the 17 or 1800s. I just had my history exam, so I recognized it immediately. While I walked towards them, I saw that they were looking around as if they were lost. "Can I help you folks?" I asked them. They looked at me with big eyes, if I was talking Chinese. I almost thought about bailing, but as we just had a meeting about customer satisfaction, I asked again, a bit louder. "Can I help you folks?" They now all looked at me, with a big smile and large eyes. I was totally creeped out, and I didn't really know what to do anymore. "If I can help you, I'll be at my desk," I said, and I quickly walked away. When I was at my desk, I could still see the family just standing there, doing absolutely nothing. Tom, have you seen this family that just came in? Over. No, no one's come through the entrance. You good? Over. Now I was even more creeped out. When I looked up, I saw the man walking towards me. From the inside, I could almost cry, but I did my best not to show it. The man stood in front of me with his pale face and called out something in a language I couldn't understand. It sounded like English, but it sort of wasn't. I couldn't make out anything. I looked down at my computer to make it look like I was searching, hoping he would just take off. When I finally looked up, nobody was there. The whole floor was abandoned again. I did a quick sweep of the floor, but I found nobody. As if they just vanished. Just then, my colleague came up the stairs, and I told him what happened. He didn't believe me, and I thought I was trying to scare him. Luckily, there were security cameras in the library, so we could just watch what happened, right?
You
After
back?
we closed the library, we went to the security office in the building and looked at the footage from earlier that evening. What I saw then was the creepiest thing ever.
What you gonna
I was
have for
talking to
breakfast, bro?
nobody. The whole family wasn't on the screen. It was just me, talking to myself. Looking for a new roommate is always a daunting task. Even though you interview and take the time to get to know that person, you don't truly find out who they are until you start living with them. I had begun searching for a roommate after I decided to leave my current residency. I was contacted a couple of hours after placing an ad on the Facebook Marketplace. The message read,
Hey Chris.
Hopefully,
I'll be moving out of my current apartment this
an
August, and I'm
omelet.
looking to room with someone new, as my roommates will
How
move
many
out later
eggs
this year.
you're gonna
I'm
use?
27 and I'm currently going
Let me
to
guess,
school.
let me guess.
When I'm not at school, I enjoy
3
hiking
eggs.
and watching movies. I also apprentice at a taxidermy shop on the days I don't have class. Hope that's not weird. It's always been a fun hobby of mine. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. Have a great day, Lunaire.
my first and most obvious reaction
With
after reading
ham,
the message
mushroom,
was to
and
check her
bell
profile.
pepper.
She was a medium height, had long,
Bell
glossy
pepper.
blonde hair and green eyes. In her profile picture, I saw her standing with a man and a woman shoulder to shoulder.
I forgot what that
They
was.
each adorned goofy grins and held up peace signs. Under the photo, the caption read,
Which
"Welcome
one is bell
roommates."
pepper?
I smiled to myself and decided to send her a message
3?
back. The sun
Ew,
beat down on us
yes.
as we hoisted various objects to the second floor of our new apartment. It took us a couple days to get everything
Yo,
out
I
of the
guessed
moving
it.
trucks and into our new place. But as soon as we did,
This one,
a
right?
wave of relief washed over our sweat-drenched and sore bodies. After a couple more hours of rearranging, we each grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat on the porch. We reminisced about old 90s cartoons and what video games we obsessed over as kids. And as the sun started to set, I truly felt relaxed and confident that things were going to work out. A week later, I started a new job for a construction company that was
The
owned by a
green
good
one.
friend of mine. As I
The
was
green
getting
bell
ready, I heard
pepper.
The front door swing open. I walked into the living room
Ooh,
to see
okay.
Lunaire and her friend
Are they
David
spicy?
sliding in a large box. What you got there?
I think I tried bell
I
pepper
asked. Through a
several
strange
times.
grunt, she replied,
They were not that
I bought a
spicy.
freezer to
So
store
I
some of
like
the
that.
animals I'm planning on using in my
I don't really
taxidermy.
like spicy
I
ones.
hope that's alright.
I was obviously hesitant at first, as there was no mention of this happening in the first place, but I eventually accepted and returned to my room to continue getting ready for work. I came home at around 9 p.m. after having a couple of beers with friends and noticed that the freezer was nestled snugly in the lower part
Red
of the
is
pantry.
good too.
A low hum could be heard.
I forgot
reverberating
which one I
against the inner
tried. Like,
walls. I was
okay, we
curious to
got
see what
like
was
a
inside, but
some
I
sort of a
didn't want to
pepper.
intrude on Lunaire's
I
business,
forgot
so I went
the
into my
name.
room and changed into more comfortable clothing.
It smells so good.
After changing, I came
No,
back
they
out
aren't
to the
spicy
kitchen
at
and started
all?
making a
Really?
sandwich. I opened the
Like,
fridge and
okay,
grabbed what I
peppers
needed. As I turned
in
around, I
Sri
stubbed my toe on
Lanka.
the edge of the island countertop and let out a long, exasperated
Okay, we
grunt.
have was okay. We
Through my frustration,
What's
I
this?
slammed the fridge door shut and checked my toe to see if there was any bleeding.
well, I'm not talking
As I
about this
raised my
pepper. Okay,
head
bell
back
pepper.
up, I was greeted by a shadowy figure. Lunaire was standing in the doorway leading to her room. The dark
It's just the
behind
same.
her almost seemed to envelop her.
What?
Is everything
No,
okay?
this is not what I'm talking
She
about. We
said
have
in
like
a
a
deadpan
small
tone.
pepper.
Shit, yeah, I'm
It's
sorry.
kind of spicy, but I
just
really
slammed my
like the
toe in
smell
middle
of
the
it.
countertop as I was making a sandwich.
Like when you
Hope I
smell
didn't
that,
break
like
it.
you can eat all the food. Like
It's
even
fine.
if it's not really
She
tasty,
said, in the same
just
deflated
because it
tone
smells
as
good, like
before.
you can have the whole
She then
thing.
turned around and walked back into the
I'm
darkness
looking
of
for the
room.
name, but I can't find
I could
it.
tell that she
I
was
wish I
pissed, so
I knew
quietly
the
ate my
name.
sandwich and retreated back to my room as well,
Bro.
only hearing the low hum from the freezer as I closed
Fresh
my door.
vegetables.
I had the next day off, so I was able to sleep in a little longer than usual.
Looks like dirt.
When I finally emerged from my room, I walked into the kitchen to make breakfast.
That's
As I opened the
pepper. Okay, that's
refrigerator, I
pepper.
noticed that the light wasn't turning
This
on
is
and there was a
pepper.
lack of cold
This
air
is just
escaping
pepper,
from
like
inside.
this one.
I turned around and flipped the light switch.
This
on
is not what I
without
mean.
suspicion. Sure enough, the power was out. Damn
This
it,
is like
I
what's
muttered
that
under my
called?
breath. I walked over to Lunaire's room and knocked on her door to tell her about the power outage if she didn't already know. There was no answer.
I don't know, like
I then remembered that she had
oh, what's that
classes
called
that
in
day
English? I
and probably
forgot.
wasn't home. I walked back
Pepper
to the kitchen
seed.
and
Yeah,
passed the
pepper
pantry.
seed.
As I did, I slipped on the
Like
floor
chili
and was able to
peppers.
catch
Oh, yeah.
myself on the countertop. What the? I angrily exclaimed as I looked down at the floor, trying to figure out what I had slipped on. It was blood. It had started to leak from the corner of the freezer and pool onto the floor.
It looks like
I
this.
quickly tried to open the
Ground
freezer
pepper.
to find out the cause of the viscous liquid, but then I noticed that it had a padlock attached to it. I don't remember.
Okay,
seeing
this
that
one.
before.
The
I
small
ran into my
one.
car and
You
grabbed
can
my
see the
tools
yellow
from the
one.
back seat. I approached the freezer and set my tools down on the nearby
Okay, it's just the
countertop.
same. Okay, this one,
Then
the
pulled out a
small one.
pair of bolt
This one
cutters
is
and
way
snapped through the metal
spicier
of the
than
package.
a bell
It
pepper.
fell to the ground
You can
with
see
a
the
large
small
thud.
thing, right?
I
Yeah,
creaked open
that
the top
one.
of the freezer
I think
and
that
was
one.
greeted with a putrid stench
That's the one that I'm.
permeated my
That's the one I'm
nostrils.
talking about.
I quickly pinched my nose and walked away, gagging in response. I guess I should have
Pepperoncinis.
realized that was gonna happen. I muttered to
Pepperoncinis.
myself in between gags.
Pepperoncinis.
After gaining my composure, I grabbed some gloves from under the sink and started taking inventory. I could see a couple
What's
of
this?
dead birds in plastic bags wedged into the corners of the freezer.
I never tried
I
this.
took each bag out and set them in
Is
the
it
trash
like
can nearby.
pickles? What's
That's when
this
I
though?
noticed that the blood was coming from the corner of the larger black bag. I don't know why.
Banana
I decided
peppers.
to open the top of the bag and peer inside. I was greeted by large, milky white eyes, a swollen black tongue surrounded by cracked
Banana
and bloated
peppers.
lips.
Oh
Matted hair on the
yeah,
head.
I like this
I
one.
swiftly dropped the bag and fell backwards onto the floor. My breathing had ceased to exist, and I grabbed the trash can next to me and expelled my disgust into it.
Banana peppers. Okay, I
Then
remember
ran
this
out the
one.
door, got into my car, and called the police. As I sat
I
in the
used to eat this
interrogation
back in the
room
day,
with a
like when I
blanket
was a
over my
kid.
shoulders, I couldn't help but think about the
Those
face
are
I
good
saw.
on sandwiches.
It looked so familiar.
Banana peppers on
That's when it finally hit me.
sandwich.
I pulled out my phone and looked at Lunaire's
Oh,
profile
yeah.
picture. It was her old roommate.
No, I'm hungry,
The
bro.
one she said was moving to California.
My.
When the detective entered the room, she started the questioning process, asking me if I started noticing any weird behavioral occurrences around the apartment. Yeah, I stubbed my toe the other day and she creepily stood in the doorway. It seemed like she was pissed, but for
Crock
some
pot.
reason I had a strange feeling like she was concerned about something. That's when I connected the dots. She didn't come out into the kitchen because she heard me stub my toe. She came out into the kitchen
Yeah,
because
this
she
looks
thought
so
I slammed
good.
the freezer instead of the fridge. A cold sweat started to form on my
Roasted
forehead as the
turkey,
surroundings
bacon,
became
lettuce.
blurred. I could hear a low whine slowly starting
Damn,
to
I'm
cover
so
up the
hungry
words
now.
of concern from the detective.
Me too, but I'm
As my vision started
I'm
to clear,
I'm
I
gross.
could see another officer
Gross?
enter the room and whisper something into her ear as he
Right
handed her
now?
a piece of paper.
What you mean?
Do you have somewhere you could stay at? She asked. I mean, I was planning on staying with my parents. They live about 30 minutes outside of town. Okay, she paused. Listen,
Because you're
I
waking
don't
up?
wanna worry you, but
Oh.
we found this picture inside of your apartment. She slid the piece of paper across the table, and I immediately felt like someone kicked me in the chest. The head of Lunaire's other roommate sat on the chair. In the background, scrawled on the wall in blood, read, "Love my roommates. All of them."
Gross means nasty. Like when you're waking up, like like the feeling that you get. Is that what you
Moonlight
mean?
peered through my
Like,
window as I jolted away.
You haven't brushed your teeth yet.
My clamorous
and
breath
things of
disturbed
that
the silence
nature.
of my dark room.
Yeah, I get it.
I'd
I
just
get it.
come out of a frightful
That's
dream,
that's one of the
and
worst
I'd been thinking
feelings
it was all too real.
that you get when you wake up.
With sweat on my brow, I sat up and grabbed my water
Um,
from the nightstand and took a sip from the now
Mm,
warmed glass.
I don't know what to search.
My hands shook as I recounted my nightmare of the horn-headed man. In my
Oh, I
dream,
got you.
I
I
was
got
walking through
you.
my neighborhood, the street lights flickering as I made my way down the uninhabited sidewalk. Nothing threatening, just a walk through the midnight hours. A block down, I could see a figure in the distance, walking slowly towards me. His steps seemed mismatched and labored.
Bad breath, a
He
little
passed through
sweat.
houses looking straight
Oh, yeah.
ahead, neither looking left nor right. His head was fixed on the sidewalk in front of him. As I was getting closer to my home, I could see him slowly starting to embark on my territory.
White tongue.
I quickly rushed to my front door and
Mm.
hurried inside.
Hell
Through
yeah.
my window, I could see him walk past my property.
The
I was thinking
horn-headed
to
man.
myself, oh God, please have him keep going, please. He He was just about to walk all the
16
way
true
past my front
horrors.
yard
Okay,
when he
this is
stopped.
the channel that I like to watch.
1188 ரூபாய் இன்று ரீலோட் செய்யுங்கள்.
I was on my way to deliver an order from the sandwich shop I worked
So you
for.
said that you're gonna
It was
have
a quiet
omelet
night, around 11 or so. I had
with
my
the
visit
ham,
planned in my
mushroom,
car,
and bell
and I
pepper.
was just
You're gonna
running
make
through
like
the
a
motions of the
sandwich,
delivery.
bacteria from out.
All my
Yeah,
bills
yeah,
were
I get it.
over.
I get it.
I pulled up to a red light.
That's a nasty
There
feeling.
was nobody else at the intersection, but for some reason, the light stayed red for what felt like an abnormal amount of time. As I sat there,
too hot
scared of
here
the
around.
light, waiting for it to change, a car pulled up beside me.
What's like the temperature right
I
now
only
in
glanced
Sri
over
Lanka?
For a second, not wanting to make that awkward eye contact, but their windows were heavily tinted, like definitely more than
What?
legal, as I couldn't see a single thing through them. The car
28?
itself was black
Nah,
as
it feels
night,
like
maybe an old
30,
Toyota or something.
33.
I can't really pinpoint what it was, but I got a really uneasy feeling about them. It
Hell.
could have just been that we were the only two on the road. I'm really not sure. Eventually the light turned green, and I started going.
But there's no
I
way it's
didn't get very
28.
far, though,
Okay,
because
let me
the person
convert
they
that.
hadn't moved. They were still parked at the
There's no way
intersection.
it
Once I got
doesn't
further
feel
down
like
the road,
83. It
I
feels like
shrugged it
90.
off and just thought
It's
it was weird
66
and
here.
nothing else.
Bro, I wish I was there, bro.
A
No
couple minutes
way.
later, I pulled
I'm
up
literally
to the
burning
section of
now.
housing that the delivery
Oh
was
my
in.
goodness.
I'd say neighborhood, but it wasn't really a
The
neighborhood.
fan is not enough
It
for
was
me.
just a line of 10 or so houses leading to a dead end. Something about it seemed really off-putting. Of all the houses on the street, not a single one had a light on. I 100% would have thought these places
We will be
were
going
abandoned
to
if not for the
barbecue
fact
and
that the
picnic
houses
today.
themselves looked really
Yo,
nice.
that's
They
so
looked like
fire.
ordinary neighborhood homes with not a single sign of anything wrong with them. I figured it had to just be a coincidence that
Barbecue
everyone
chicken
down the street
or
had their lights off.
steak. I don't know. Fish?
Anyway, the address I
It'll
had
be
was for the
93
second to last
today?
house. I pulled
Yo,
up and
oh,
knocked
it's
on the
summer
door,
there. No
getting
way,
out
bro.
the order and walking up to
93,
the
I
door.
cannot. Okay, let me convert
I
93.
was hoping I'd at least see some
93,
sort of light coming through the windows of this
um,
house because they were the one I was
Fahrenheit
delivering to. But
to
standing on the
Celsius.
porch, I didn't see any light.
33. Oh my goodness. Can't even
Reluctantly,
imagine
I
taking
knocked on the
33.
door.
You look hot and sweaty.
When I did, the door swung a bit
Yeah,
from its
I'm
hinges.
I'm getting
it
sweaty
wasn't
like
properly
all day
shut
long.
or
Like
locked.
doesn't matter. Like I took like
Now this was
2
even
showers so
more odd.
far. I gotta take another shower
Sandwich
before go to
delivery.
bed.
Anyone
I hate
home?
this weather.
It was completely silent. No response, and not even the slightest.
It was
sound
raining
from
yesterday, so
inside
like
the
I
house.
wish it's raining today
I
as
was
well.
gonna leave, but
It's
just to be
middle of
sure I
summer.
didn't miss
Like when
anything,
when
I
will
cracked
the
door
summer
open a
end?
little further. I could see
I thought
a
your summer
hallway
just
and
started.
a room. Both were empty of any furniture or decorations. Not even a single picture on the wall. It only took a few seconds before dust started coming through the doorway, too. I shut it and backed up from the porch. I was very confused and slightly worried. As I walked back down to my car, though, I noticed something down the road. A few houses back, there was a small black car that wasn't there when I pulled in. Its headlights were off, and it was parked.
September,
Once I saw the tinted windows, I immediately recognized it.
August,
I felt my
September.
face
You got
go
2 more
white,
months. Like
knowing this could not
which
possibly
season
be a
do you
coincidence
enjoy
at
the
this point.
most? Like
I
winter,
started to hurry to my
spring,
car,
or
and
summer?
as I got just a few feet
Yes,
away
it
from the
did
road,
just
I saw
start.
something move in the reflection of one of the
Hell
windows.
yeah.
I wasn't sure what it was that I saw, but I stopped in place. I was standing near the passenger door, and through the window, my eyes fell on the back seat. It was dark, but there was something blocking the back window.
Do you guys eat like
It only
different
took me
different
about a
food in
second
different
for me to
seasons?
realize what I saw. I turned.
I really
and
like to
bolted
know
back
that.
to the house. As I did, the back door to my car swung open, and a man in a black hoodie and black pants came running out. He didn't chase me,
But
though. He ran
unofficially,
straight down
summer
the
goes
road
from
and into his car.
Memorial Day
I stayed
to
on the porch.
Labor Day.
With my heart pounding, I dialed 911.
uh-huh.
I probably could have gotten in my car and left at that point, but I was too scared to really think straight. Police arrived and immediately told me that this whole street was unoccupied.
Have you bought
as
any
the homes
fireworks,
were
by the way?
rebuilt.
Spring is
Guess
my
that
favorite.
explains why I thought they looked so nice and not
Is
abandoned.
spring like a
What
normal
I
weather,
definitely
like
didn't
not too
expect
hot,
was to
not
hear
too
them
cold?
say that they've had multiple reports this past week, very similar to mine. The guy would order something for delivery with a fake name and address, then follow the driver. What happened to me was the closest call of any of them, though.
We
The
eat
guy
like
had
special
stuck
food
inside
on
my car, was
holidays.
waiting for me to get in.
Oh yeah,
He
the
didn't even
same,
drive away.
same
Who
here.
knows what he was trying to do?
I
Unfortunately, there haven't been any updates on finding him. I was 20 and worked with my parents at a really small takeout restaurant. We specialized in to-go orders. I was in college at the time and was on a
yeah,
very
spring is
hectic
moderate
schedule,
here.
but my parents were kind enough to offer me a laid-back position just as a general worker, usually just working the to-go table or cleaning up the place after closing hours. This was during early December.
You think like the
and
America
my
got
time
like
was
the
coming. I
best
didn't have much time to work during the
weather?
day, so I was taking up mostly late night shifts where I'd just clean for a few hours.
Which
then
country
head
do you
home.
think like have like
One
the
of the nights
best
I was working, I noticed around an hour into
I don't know,
my
like the
shift,
best
my car
summer,
was parked in the parking lot.
winter?
The way our
and
restaurant
spring.
was laid out, it was a
I'll be
standalone
watching
shop with a
fireworks
tiny
at the
parking lot in front of
river
it,
today.
so there was no crossover between other stores or businesses. I thought whoever parked there probably just didn't
Buying
think anyone would
fireworks
care,
is a waste.
and they were right because I really didn't.
Is it
care.
expensive there?
20 or so minutes later, they left.
Firework
However, the next night around the
price
same
in
time, the car pulled into the parking lot again. The first time it was fine because I thought it was just a one-time thing.
the USA.
But coming back again was strange. I walked up to the front of the building and looked out. It was an older gray sedan with
Whoa,
dark
whoa,
windows.
whoa!
They didn't seem to be trying to
I
hide or
think
anything.
Costa Rica
They
does.
were facing right at the building, and they kept their headlights.
Yo, what?
I double-checked that the doors were locked
181?
before getting back
That's
to
a
the
lot,
building.
I guess.
It
USD
was
to
hard not
LKR.
to feel like they were watching me through the giant glass
Yo,
front
that's a
windows,
that's
but
monthly.
just
That's a
like
monthly
last month,
salary
they
here.
left not too long after.
But America
Finished
has
up my work,
all 4
clocked
seasons.
out an hour later.
That's
Walking to my
fire.
car in the
Like,
parking
but when I
lot,
watch
I
videos, like
felt
it looks
really
so cool
uneasy.
to me.
I knew they had left, but it was just concerning that the same car came by 2 nights in a row for seemingly no reason. I drove home and got some rest. Having a lot of schoolwork to do,
Electric
I
Rainbow.
decided to take off the next night, so I didn't
There was a
return to work
firework
until the
factory
following night.
explosion here this week.
The whole time I was inside
Oh,
cleaning,
really?
I had this anxious feeling that
Yeah, we
maybe
got something like
constantly
this.
look out the windows,
Oh, we got this
expecting
one.
that car to come back at some point,
Uh,
but I never saw them pull in.
it's just
I
$8.
was inside for nearly
$14
3 hours and finished everything I had to do. And not having seen the car come by this night, I felt like maybe it really was all nothing. I packed my stuff up and headed out, locking the door
Fireworks
behind me.
cake.
As I walked through the parking lot, that anxious and
Is money
uneasy
up in
feeling
smoke?
rushed back to me.
7 people
Felt like I
missing
suddenly
still.
got a burst of adrenaline, making me
Oh
sweat
yeah, that's a
and
waste
look
of
in all
money.
directions.
That's why I didn't really
Then, as I was
do
halfway
any
across,
do any
and staring
fireworks
out
in
in
this
the
year.
open, my eyes spotted a car sitting in the
I
far
bought some
back of the
fireworks
parking
like
lot, away
in
from all the
2023.
street lamps that lit up
That
the
was a
area.
waste.
Within
So I
seconds,
agree
it started moving, quickly
with you.
driving toward me. I sprinted to my car, but I could hear their tires
But
slamming
y'all got
on
some
the
crazy
pavement as they
fireworks. Like, I
sped
saw
up
like
right beside me and slammed on the brakes.
never seen
I
fireworks
stumbled
like that.
forward, thinking
Buy
they were about
fireworks
to hit
online.
me. I was only a few feet away from my car at this point, and suddenly the doors of their car swung open. I didn't even turn my head to look, having my focus completely on getting into my car. Footsteps rushed behind me just as I opened my car and got in. Through the windows, I saw 3 men wearing
Yo.
masks and hoodies
What's
sprinting up
this?
to me. My hands were
Mob
shaking
Madness.
as I tried to get my car to turn on.
That sounds
The
so
men
funny.
started banging on the
We
windows,
use bottle
trying to get the
rockets,
doors open, but I barely
M80s.
got it in drive and drove past them. I got out of the parking lot and onto the road, and from there
M80s.
I was
Is
safe.
it like a gun?
I called 911 and pulled into a well-lit gas station nearby to wait
Oh, I
for
thought
them.
it was a gun.
Unfortunately, the outside of our shop didn't have any cameras.
M80s.
So the information the police had to go off of was minimal.
Oh yeah, we got
I
something
couldn't
like
even
this.
see any of the men's faces. After that night, it's no surprise that I never saw the car or the men.
M1000s. I want to see how. This has to be bigger than the M80s.
This was last year toward the beginning of December. One of my good friends was going on a trip with his family and would be gone for a whole week.
It's a
He
motorcycle.
asked if I wanted to house sit his place while they were gone. We were really good
M5000s.
family friends, so this wasn't all that unusual. I actually did the same thing for them last year as well. They had a couple fish
I think it
tanks
gets
and a
louder
lot of
when the
house
number
plants
increases.
that they needed me to take care of while they were away, and in return I'd get to stay at their house for a week. I lived in a really small apartment, so I was always glad to take them
Okay,
up
let
on
me
the
check out. M1000s. Titanium. Hell yeah. This looks dangerous. The blacks like to fire guns in the air on 4th of July. They forget bullets come down. That's crazy. Is this a missile? Nah, there's a chainsaw or something in this video. Yeah, someone's running a chainsaw. Oh no. Oh hell no. Knife. Now that has to be loud. Yo, it's like a bomb. No, I never seen a firework like okay, we have like a bigger firework, but it's not like that though. It does not make that much smoke. It has to be so loud. Okay, let me check M5000s. Jumbo. Warning. They're louder than that. Yo, run. Really? No way. What was this?
Get a little putazo. This little piece of little putazo.
M1000s are like dynamite. Yo,
That's a long ass fuse, dude.
That's gonna get it.
oh hell yeah. Okay, that's M5000, I guess. Dynamite explosion.
You ever see action movies where a guy's running around
That was a dud.
with a bundle of dynamite and a fuse hanging out? Well, if it was just fuse, the dynamite wouldn't work. At the end of the fuse is a thing called a blasting cap. It's like a supercharged firecracker, and that's what sets off the dynamite. This is my favorite part of the job. Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! One of the things I really enjoy about blowing stuff up out here is the distance. I don't like being close to it. Obviously, it's dangerous. But when it's far away, you get to see it, and then you hear it.
It's not like, oh, okay, what is this? Corsair I hate these ads. Yo, my PC is lagging. No way.
Disclaimer. Leader of Firelight. This set we will use for ice explosions. Here is cursor 12, cursor 5000, 10,000, 30,000, connected by electrical ignition.
I will have hash browns with breakfast. I forgot what hash brown is. Ah, okay. Yo, I'm hungry now. Oh, they look so good now. Potato, forming rice potatoes.
Look, it does. Okay, let's say 1.75 because of ground. 1.75, it's deep. Today I'm using umbrellas.
An iced tea? That's fire, bro. That's fire ass breakfast.
Well, let's explore Scorsel 12.
I wish I had that.
Now bubbles. Nice weather. Sun shining.
With sourdough toast.
Icy now.
I think I've seen one of these or one of those on the internet. Sourdough. Is it like hard or like so smooth? Like I can't really understand how it feels like. 3T barbecue. It will cost $14. Okay. Is that cheap? Like $14 cheap? I think it's right.
Let's try Corsair 5000. My umbrella to avoid taking swamp shower. Let's go.
Hard outside, soft inside. Okay.
Run.
He didn't even run.
Very nice.
Which country is this though, by the way? For breakfast, it's not expensive but not cheap. Uh-huh. How much would you say like a cheap meal, for breakfast? How much does it cost?
One of
Oh, bro, no way. How are you? How are my games? My mom is calling me now, bro. I gotta go. I think they're not that. They're all right. Like I think my arm's getting a little bit bigger. What you think? 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 Yeah. That's my games. I don't have enough lighting though. Oh, I took like a video recently. Hold on. Let me Let me show you the video. $8 is cheap. Oh, okay. Okay, if you're gonna buy a meal here, like I think it would only cost like let me see, like $2. You can have a good ass meal. I'm telling you, it's just like $2. If you wanna have like a cheap one, it's like $1.5. Arms are cutting? Yeah, I've been seeing that. Like I see a lot of veins on my arm. You're going to be a Calvin Klein model. I wish I could. Trying to do some. I got a song playing. It's the video I took. It's the video I took. It's the video I took. Ah. What am I even doing, bro? Oh yeah. By the way, bro, oh, you can't hear me? I think you can't hear me now. Okay, you saw that. Okay, my mom's calling me right now. I'm gonna end the stream. I'll stream again. Thank you so much for watching, bro. Sleep Money. Have a good 4th of July. What's that called? 4th of July. Okay, have a good 4th of July. I wish you enjoying your day and share me your experience later on. Your abs will be coming in soon. Yeah, that's the dream in 2025. Hell yeah. Alright, bro. Have a good one. See ya.